Todd and Julie Chrisley are going to prison. A judge sentenced the pair to a combined 19 years for fraud and tax evasion. The Chrisleys rose to fame with their show Chrisley Knows Best, which follows their tight-knit family. A jury convicted them on several charges earlier this year. U.S. District Judge Eleanor Ross gave Todd Chrisley 12 years in prison, while Julie Chrisley received 7 years.
The water is dripping, honey. Okay, I'll get it.
You did that.
I wish I got any help. Any help in this world.
The water on.
Are we rolling?
Oh yeah.
A few episodes back, we covered reality TV show sensations, the Chrisleys, and their TV show Chrisley Knows Best, as well as the scandals and tax fraud allegations that have dogged the parents, Todd and Julie. The show centers on Todd and Julie's approach to parenting, as well as Todd's flamboyant relationship with his entrepreneurial activities and the press. And Julie mostly features as the long-suffering wife who has to reel him in.
My parenting style is
very controlling.
Oxygen was cut off to your brain at the time that you did that.
Well, everyone has their own opinion and I like it.
But we don't have to agree. If I don't like it, that's all that matters. When I buy my kids a car, I place a tracking device on it. I read all the text messages on their phone.
You assume that kids are all liars.
I love my businesses, but I place nothing above my wife and my children. Regardless of all the fighting, screaming, and yelling that we do, at the end of the day, we love each other. You are the only love of my life. We're here for each other. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
Because we're a family.
Chrisley Knows Best, a new original series.
It takes a lot to be the favorite child, and you start with less body hair.
Just to refresh your memory, Todd and Julie's blended family consists of elder children Kyle and Lindsie, who are Todd's children from a previous marriage, as well as Julie and Todd's children Savannah, Chase, and Grayson.
Go to bed.
Can you say the names again with a country accent?
I did that in the first episode.
Oh.
Chase, Savannah, and Grayson.
Grayson.
All of the children, speaking of them being Southern, refer to their dad as Daddy.
Daddy.
No matter how over 25 they may be. Kyle and Lindsey's participation in the show has been spotty. Kyle's relationship with his father is strained for a lot of reasons, some of which have to do with Kyle's ongoing struggle with drug abuse. Lindsey may have played a role in turning Todd over to the Georgia tax authorities. We'll get into more of that later. Because of Kyle's struggles, Todd and Julie have also adopted his daughter, Chloe. The show has inspired spin-offs, including Growing Up Chrisley, which focuses more on Savannah and her efforts to more or less follow in her dad's footsteps.
You like to shop and look good just about as much as Dad. If you keep going, I have full confidence that you will surpass anything that he has done.
As well as a cooking web series called What's Cooking with Julie, which features Julie's very average cooking skills, as seen in this episode where she shows us how to make chicken and milk soup.
Ew.
We're just gonna add this to our mixture, add this chicken. Okay, so I'm just gonna give this a quick stir and give it a chance to heat.
We're revisiting the Chrisleys because that episode is by far our most viewed video, and also since we recorded it, they've been sentenced. Todd was sentenced to 12 years and Julie to 7 for bank fraud, tax fraud, and wire fraud. They will report to Florida prisons for their sentences on January 15th.
That's my happy trail.
Well, your happiness is coming to an end.
What?
Because that looks dumb. If you're gonna shave all this, then have a patch of hair there.
It's a trail.
Yeah, well, you've always gotten lost on the trail.
Todd always portrayed himself as making all his money from real estate, as well as a few other entrepreneurial ventures into fashion. The government alleges that a lot of his money actually came from loans that he obtained fraudulently, as well as from a clever financial hack called Just Not Paying Your Taxes. According to a press release, the Chrisleys submitted false bank statements, audit reports, and personal financial statements to Georgia community banks to obtain $36 million in loans. They also allegedly spent money on luxury cars, designer clothes, real estate, and travel, using the new fraudulent loans to pay back old ones. According to the federal government's case against Todd and Julie Chrisley, Todd and Julie took the money that they made off the reality show and placed it in a company that was under Todd's mother's name to hide the money from the IRS. Their business partner, Mark Braddock, squealed and was an important part of the case against the Chrisleys. He says that he was willing to lie for the Chrisleys and submit falsified documents on their behalf because he and Todd Chrisley were having an affair. Todd denies the affair and indeed any claims of him being a homosexual or bisexual man. Todd blames Lindsey and his ex-wife for supposedly turning him over to the authorities and lying about his tax fraud, and he and wife Julie have yet to admit any guilt. I've seen speculation on Reddit that I think makes sense, that maybe they would have gotten lighter sentences if they had taken responsibility and said, "We did it, we were wrong, we're sorry," but there's been none of that. Lindsey also said in the Dr. Phil interview that while her father was under investigation for tax fraud in Georgia, he asked her to meet him at a restaurant, where he then said that he had evidence that Lindsey was cheating on her husband with an official from Georgia, a Georgia official man. He said that he had a sex tape of them together, and if that she didn't watch it, it wouldn't be good for her.
And then that's when I got the warning that Chase had incriminating evidence against me, nude photos, and had obtained this tape for $5,000. At that point, the conversation was over for me.
Father told you that his PR team was going to put out a story, and the story was that you were sleeping with a government official and told him lies about your family.
Yes.
After Todd allegedly blackmailed Lindsey with the sex tape, she reportedly filed a police report. She also wrote to the FBI in 2020 asking for help obtaining a restraining order against her father. But since then, Lindsey has completely walked back the accusations against her father. She now says that she doesn't believe that there was ever a sex tape and refused to cooperate with providing testimony during her father's trial. According to Radar Online, Lindsey was questioned during the trial about her reaching out to the FBI about her father, and she pretty much refused to answer questions and responded so sarcastically that the judge eventually said, "You're not doing anybody any favors by answering questions like that. Trust me." Lindsey has apparently reconciled with her father and stepmother and has no interest in testifying against them. Kyle Chrisley has had his own about face for a while. In interviews, he was saying that his dad just doesn't like to pay what he owes, and that he wishes his dad would take accountability for his fraud.
Todd Chrisley, the patriarch on Chrisley Knows Best, now reportedly caught in a brewing Georgia tax investigation, and his own son, Kyle, speaking out against him.
I'd like to see him held accountable.
Investigators reportedly looking into claims Chrisley lives in Florida, which has no state income tax, while records obtained by ABC affiliate WSB revealing he declared himself a legal Georgia resident in numerous court filings in 2010 and 2011. Kyle, who is now estranged from his family, says his father bragged about not paying taxes in Georgia.
Were you ever really a Florida resident?
No, we went there for really vacation for in the summer, and that was really the only time we ever went. We lived here in Georgia.
I also read that Savannah represented California in a pageant, and they said that she was able to represent California because they also had property in California, so she had dual residency. The Chrisleys somehow live everywhere and yet nowhere. They're a geographically confounding family. Kyle later released the following statement on Instagram. "I've seen all the stories about my dad's indictment all over the internet. I know the interview I did bashing my dad over a year ago is being shared on social media." Like, that's not that long ago. "Honestly, I'm tired of it. You guys don't have the facts, and I need to set the record straight once and for all. Everything I said in my interview was a lie. These allegations against my dad are all lies." About a year and a half ago, my biological mom and my sister Lindsey were responsible for turning my dad into the Georgia Department of Revenue for tax evasion. My relationship with my dad was really rocky at the time, and that was used to their advantage. I was battling drug addiction, and I felt like he was trying to control me, so when they said, if he's locked up, he can't put you back in treatment, I said, okay. I should have said no. No shit.
Wow.
Like, he doesn't come off great in that. 9 months ago, I went to my dad with an apology. His words were, I love you always, and you are forgiven. And just like that, I was welcomed back into his life with open arms. I bet you were. He loves it when people are willing to testify on his behalf. Savannah has stuck by her parents and has said in a recent episode of her podcast, Unlocked, my parents have been convicted off of lies. Speaking of Kyle, let's touch on what's going to happen to his daughter Chloe now that her legal guardians, Todd and Julie, are going to be in prison.
Yeah. We're fine. We got this. Y'all can leave. Let me have him.
Let's just like tease him with him, but let's not actually give it to him because I don't want to. No, babe.
No.
Savannah, my sister hasn't been gone 60 seconds. Already bring cupcakes in the picture.
He's loving life right now.
Savannah, who's 26 now, is actually going to be taking custody of both Chloe and her brother, Grayson, who, like I said, is still a teenager. Kyle was arrested for allegedly assaulting Chloe's mother in 2014. She was subsequently arrested for welfare fraud. Angela, Chloe's mother, has since told TMZ that she's filing paperwork to get custody of Chloe back. But a family law attorney who handled Chloe's adoption has said that this isn't really going to go anywhere. Todd and Julie formally adopted Chloe, at which point Angela, according to this lawyer, surrendered her parental rights. So it doesn't seem like legally there's anything Angela can do to take back custody of Chloe. Angela also told TMZ, I want her home. She deserves to be home. I'm her biological mom. I didn't walk away from her. I was pushed out of her life. I don't really know who to believe. Like, this woman seems like she's had her issues with being on the right side of the law, but so have the I wouldn't put it past the Chrisleys to lie about everything.
That's the thing.
That's kind of their thing.
I have been wiping your ass since you was born. I'd prefer to not have to keep doing it. I expect all of my children to be very good kids.
There's this whole saga of drama between Todd and Joshua Waits, who is the director of Georgia's Office of Special Investigations, which is part of the Georgia Department of Revenue. Todd Chrisley has told anyone who will listen that Joshua Waits is corrupt. He's a corrupt official. And that's a guy that Lindsey was, in fact, corresponding with when she was originally reporting her father to the Georgia authorities. To be fair to Todd Chrisley, the Office of the Inspector General did come out with a report that found that that agency, Joshua Waits' agency, had been taking seized funds, so funds that were owed them via taxes, and spending them on fitness equipment, Fitbits, and vehicles. Joshua Waits has since been fired by the Georgia Department of Revenue. I don't think that since these accusations came out against that particular Georgia agency, I don't think that that necessarily means that Todd Chrisley somehow isn't guilty. There's just more than one unscrupulous person in Georgia, believe it or not. I also found an old sexual harassment lawsuit filed against Todd Chrisley from 2010 that I'm including not because it has anything terribly relevant in it, it's just very salacious. This is too filthy for me to read, so I'd like you to tell me what this says.
All right. In the presence of employees, Chrisley called female employees prostitutes and sluts. Commented on the size of his penis, invited male employees to jerk off with him in the restroom. Like he was inviting them with him. Like, hey, I'm coming to.
I'm gonna jerk off.
Let's go do that together.
Like, I'm getting coffee. Do you want coffee?
How did he say that though? Like, come on, y'all. We're getting our jerk on.
Y'all, come on. Like, Daddy needs to jerk off.
Daddy's getting his jerk off.
On.
Chrisley also asked Ms. Kicklighter in front of other CAM employees, Are your tits real? Chrisley introduced Kicklighter to
Read it with more energy.
On another occasion, Chrisley introduced Kicklighter to a new employee, stating she was a high-class prostitute on weekends.
What a fun boss.
Woo!
Well, that was yucky. Who cares if Todd Chrisley is bisexual or not? The point is, a lot of people accuse him of being sexually gross, and it doesn't matter to whom he's being that way. I think we can all agree in 2022.
He seems to be a creep to all.
He seems a creep to all. As far as the outcome of that sexual harassment suit, I don't know where it went. All I saw was one person on Reddit saying that they know one of the plaintiffs and that she received a huge settlement, but that's one anonymous person on Reddit, so I probably shouldn't even bring it up. Todd Chrisley has spoken extensively on his podcast about how he's leaning on his faith in these trying times.
You know, it's a very sad, heartbreaking time for our family right now. But we still hold steadfast in our faith, and we trust that God will do what he does best, because God's a miracle worker, and that's what we're holding out for.
All of the Chrisleys, in fact, have been pretty biblical in their reaction to Todd and Julie's sentencing. Savannah has stated on Instagram, "Noah didn't stop building the ark to explain himself to everyone who doubted and hated on him. Keep building your ark. The rain will do the talking." Noah wasn't committing tax fraud.
Right.
Kyle also posted a verse about not judging, lest ye be judged. There is some speculation online that maybe during their time in prison, Todd and Julie will rebrand in the tradition of many a scammy televangelist before them. And I kind of think that that's perfect for them. Todd Chrisley is very much that flavor of Christian where it's like, God has blessed me with all this charm and charisma and good looks, so of course I am owed an opulent lifestyle. Conveniently ignoring that verse. Hold on a second, where's my Bible? It is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. What about a camel?
I'm just visualizing the camel.
It's too big for a needle, do you get it?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. In any case, I'm positive we haven't seen the last of Todd Chrisley. Thank you for watching, and if you made it this far, consider subscribing. We'd love to have you. That's all for today. See you next time.